Right, 6 June 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you my evening update on the SADC protest. And today I want to talk about what has been happening during the day. As usual, I give you an update on what has been happening during the day, and then we'll look at what needs to happen next. So I want to talk about my conversations with many of the leaders in the opposition. As you know, I talk to many leaders in the opposition parties. And unfortunately, most of the leaders are not brave enough. They are very afraid of what is going to happen. There is a lot of fear among the leadership in the opposition. And if you guys think we're going to get leadership from the current people who are around, for example, the opposition leaders, that won't happen because most of them, they are not out of that original way of thinking. And the original way of thinking is doing things in private. So I want to explain what we're doing and why we're doing it and the role that Gambako Media is going to be playing. So previously, politics in Zimbabwe was done in private. So the opposition leaders would do something at the back and then you get a decision. And ZANU-PF would do something in secret and you get a decision. The new model that we're bringing and which is going to work is doing everything in public. So in this particular instance, as we move towards the protest between 17 and 19 August, everything is going to be transparent. You're not going to see a decision being made at the back and people not knowing what's going on. So guys, before I forget, let me share the link. I apologize for not sharing the link. I'm going to share the link. And I want you to understand that what is going to happen here is not going to be easy. It's going to be very painful. It's going to be a very painful process, which is coming. But the guys who are there, who are in the opposition, they cannot rule Zimbabwe if they are afraid. So I want to make it clear. They can. So if you see all the opposition parties that we're seeing here, ANAZEFA, ANACC, ANA Blue Movement, all these parties, I tell them every day, you cannot be Zimbabwe president when you're not in Zimbabwe. So you have to be physically in Zimbabwe to be the president. So that's the leadership. And I also tell them that if they're afraid even to come on a live like this, they're afraid to come on a live. I talk to them during the day, but then they can't do it. They think there's this powerful thing that is there that can attack them. There's no one in ZANU-PF that can attack people. People are just afraid. But all I want to say is this is where we are. This is what we have to deal with. This is what we have to break. And this is why it has taken so long for Zimbabwe to be free, to have a normal political system. The political system in Zimbabwe is not normal because everyone is afraid and everyone wants to do things that are normal. And this time we're not going to do normal things. And guys, I want to tell you that I am going to be there. First, you're going to see me at SADC, then you're going to see me at the UK, then you're going to see me in Zimbabwe. All we need is the support of everyone here. And when I talk of support, I'm talking about we need financial resources to move around. We need to be able to move around. I need us to be able to go where we need to go. And we need to be transparent. We need to show what is happening. So right now, you see me sitting here every day. That doesn't make sense. You should see me at SADC head office. You should see me at UK talking to people. You should see me at AU. You should see me at EU. And that is what we need. We don't need this thing which has been happening in the past where other people make decisions. So we need to make decisions together. If you're in the UK, if you're in South Africa, if you're in the United States, all of you guys call me during the day. You don't want to be in those countries. You want to move back home. That is the purpose of these things that we're doing here. We want to go back home. We don't want to go back home in a box. We want to go back on our feet. So if you want to go back home and if you're tired of living in a foreign country, if you're tired of the situation that is there now, don't wait for someone else to do it. And I would like to thank the guys that have sent us money to support. So we've been able to pay some more bills today. we receive more money overnight. But what we actually need is someone who can help us with tickets and someone who can help us with a bit more money so that we can have accommodation. So if we can get people who've got a bit more significant contributions, we want to get those. We've talked to other people, but I'm very reluctant to get money from one person. So there are people who have promised us to pay for everything, but I would rather we do it in such a way that all the guys contribute. Because if a guy comes here with 20,000 and gives it to me, next time you'll be calling the shots. And you see Gambakwe getting softer and softer every night. That is what will be happening. So I see good Mkoma Reason is here. I'm going to add you. Mkoma Reason, remember the rules. We speak in English, and let's hear what you have to say tonight. Okay, I think I will let him sort out his stuff there. He's not yet sorted out. So please, Mkoma Reason, take off your sound, and the other guys want to join, you can join while I take you through what I've been saying here. So what I've been saying is that, so guys, don't call me on the phone because I'm live, so I can't answer you. You have to go on the actual stream. There's the link. I put the link on the comments. So you can't call me on the phone right now. So I see a lot of guys calling me. So this is what I've been saying. We are at a critical moment right now. And the critical moment is the moment where we have to go for the protest in August. And you see me here every night. You're going to see me every single night. And then you're going to see me in Zimbabwe on 17 August, or even earlier than that. Today, we've done a process for Pastor Masai. So I want to update for you, Pastor Masai. This process is going to cost about $3,000. We've received money for a lawyer, which is equivalent to almost $3,000. So you see what I'm telling you here. This is not something that I'm doing as a joke. I'm doing serious things because I know where we're going. We want a completely different system. So we've received $3,000 US dollars for Pastor Masai's case. For there's a document that we're preparing to go to the commissioner of police. We sent him letters and he refused to respond. We're now doing something called the Freedom of Information request, where he's supposed to give us that information by law. He's compelled to give us that law. I'm going to give details of the funders in the future. But for now, what I want to make clear is that the current system in Zimbabwe is not normal. And the leaders that we have in the opposition, they've been paralyzed by fear for a very, very long time. And I've been telling them, they won't rule this country. So the person that is going to take over from Nangagwa is a person that's not afraid. So someone that is willing to go the extra mile, that is the person that is going to take over from Nangagwa. But the part that you guys need to play is to be there financially and to be there in terms of support. You can't just sit in the UK or sit in South Africa and expect that everything's going to work. So there's a guy who called me in the afternoon, and his proposal is that we need to form a group where we have a monthly contribution. I'm not going to do it now. I don't need to do it now. All I need right now is to be able to move around with Bishop Nyamakanga. I talked to Pastor Marange this afternoon, and I think he's got issues with his network, but I'm going to send him the link or the same. We basically have a group of people in the opposition that may want to take over office, but they may not be able to, or they may not be willing to do what is necessary beforehand. So I want to repeat what I'm saying here. We've got three stakeholders. We've got Nelson Chamisa, we've got Mnangagwa, and we've got SADC. Nelson Chamisa by himself cannot do everything. He needs your assistance. So the people around Nelson Chamisa, they cannot keep quiet when there's a protest. They have to come out in the open and say, we're protesting, we're doing this, we're doing that. If they are quiet, SADC summit will come and it will pass. And you guys will still be in the diaspora. What we want is that August 19th, that is the last day that Mnangagwa was in office. We need fresh elections, we need dialogue, and we need reforms. If you don't put pressure now, Mnangagwa is going to be there. But Mnangagwa is so weak. Mnangagwa has never been this weak ever since Mnangagwa got into office. He's at the weakest now. He's wandering around the world aimlessly. You saw what happened in South Korea. No one wants to deal with Mnangagwa. He's going to go to Russia. You come back with nothing. So Mnangagwa will be forced to sit down and talk. But what happens depends on how hard you guys push, the guys in the diaspora. And what that means is we need to move from social media. So remember what I said, you can't rule Zimbabwe from social media. We need to move from social media and our activities need to be on the ground. So as I said, we need to see each other at SADC. The SADC visit must happen as soon as possible. You need to see people moving around, talking to other leaders in Zimbabwe. Bishop Nyamakanga has started that process. You're going to start seeing video very, very soon. Bishop Nyamakanga is operating from Zimbabwe. That is how difficult it is for him. And I check on him every 3 hours. So like today, if I don't manage to talk to him for 2 hours, I start to get worried that something might have happened to him. But we need to go further than that. And you guys in the diaspora have to understand that a protest is not a peaceful thing. So let me keep repeating this thing. A protest is not a peaceful thing. A protest is a push. When you're protesting, you're pushing someone out. So don't expect kuti muchaita protest and that protest ends nicely, because this is a long thing that's going to take a long, long time. The reason why you've been sitting in the diaspora for so long is that people have not been willing to do what is necessary, which is to go long. So today is the 6th of June. We need to be able to do this until the 19th of August. So we're talking here of June, July, August. That's 3 months of doing this. But I mustn't be sitting here. You must be seeing me next to you in the UK, in the United States, everywhere we're going, and in Zimbabwe. And we then need to go through the formal processes that are required. There are formal processes that are required for you to apply for a demonstration. And if there's a dialogue, you need to be prepared for that dialogue. So I see people saying, we want dialogue. What is the framework of the dialogue? What is the demand for the dialogue? We are clear here what we want. Mnangagwa has rigged the election. After rigging the election, he has recalled the MPs of the CCC. Chamisa is had to leave the CCC. So the first thing that is needed is a fresh election, because the current people who are in parliament and councils, they're not the right people. So it's clear these things cannot happen in a vacuum. Who are the people who are going to negotiate on our behalf? And when the fresh election happen, who's going to represent Nelson Chamisa? Who's going to be the MPs for Nelson Chamisa? Who's going to be the councillors for Nelson Chamisa? Who we're saying is the one that is in the dispute. So all these things that I'm telling you, they require leadership. But as I said to you, the leaders are terribly afraid. So we need new leaders, not just in government. We need new leaders in the opposition. We need a new approach to politics. And the best approach is to do everything in the open. So from now onwards, if you see someone coming here and they can't even show themselves, that person does not have the leadership qualities that you need. You need people that are willing to step up and speak out and represent all the people in the diaspora who are tired of living in the diaspora and want to go home and want to make a change in the country. So that is where we are. And obviously, as I said, guys, we need money for the tickets. I will give you an update. We're talking to a few people who are going to sort out the tickets to go to SADC. If you don't go physically to SADC, this is all talk, it's all theories. We want to go to SADC. We want to go and talk to the guys over there. The Zephyr guys, they are going to go to SADC also early July. But that is the process which they had. The process that I'm talking about here is a process where you see me and you see Bishop Nyamakanga over there. So last night we did a bit of work. Some letters have gone out today. Some letters have gone out yesterday. And tomorrow we're going to send a bit more money. because everything needs money. To send every letter needs $6. And then Bishop Mankanga needs fuel. So the number of letters we're planning to send is about 40. So if we multiply 40 by 6, that is, what is my math doing to me? 240 or something dollars. That is what you need to be able to send. In fact, it's about, so if we say $240, that is just for sending out the letters, because you can't drive to all the 40 places where we want to send letters. And then you need money for petrol. We also need some accommodation for some guys who are doing work for us on the ground. And these guys cannot continue staying where they stay. We need to move them to a safer place. So all these things, they need you guys to contribute and to participate. And you can't participate without sending any money. So first and foremost, we need to fund this thing. And we need a funding model. I've talked to the guys in the UK. You can't sit in the UK and fail to put together each person 50 pounds. Put 50 pounds each, and let's make sure that we get this thing moving and this thing on the road. We can't do it on social media. We have to start seeing people moving on the ground. And obviously, it's going to happen. Like I told you today, we got $3,000 for Pastor Messiah's case. And that is for the lawyers. The lawyers are going to be paid by somebody. And we're going to eventually get Commissioner Matanga to give us information on what happened, whether they're investigating or not. If they don't give us that information, we're going to leave Zimbabwe. We're going to go to a court outside of Zimbabwe and force Commissioner Matanga to give us information on Pastor Messiah's murder, and also what they've done. If they investigated, where is the docket, who were the suspects that were interviewed. So the things I'm telling you, that $3,000 did not come from the Zimbabwean. It came from outside, from someone who is outside. What are we going to contribute ourselves as Zimbabweans? Are we just going to sit there and hope that everything is going to do well? I always say to you, if we now can put 200,000 for a Mercedes Benz and give one to Sandra Ndebele, one to Killer T, one to all those people, right? He gives a Benz. Do you think you can organize a protest with the $200 that we've received? So, guys, let's be serious here. And this is the basics of what we're talking about. This is not a time for half measures. And if eventually a guy like me goes to Harare and I get arrested and I'm put away for a long time, what are you guys going to do? So does this mean everything stops and you're just going to wait for something to happen? That's what I'm saying. Don't be those people that don't do anything, that wait for the West. So, and also I say to our leaders that are in the opposition, show some bravery, show some bravery. We want brave leaders who can lead, because at the moment Mnangagwa is at his weakest. I want to add my Tyra here. My Tyra, how are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you? How did I come in?
No, very well. Thanks very much. It's fun for us to have a lady for the first time. We've never had a lady on here. How are you doing, though? What do you want to say?
Well, I just want to encourage everybody to be brave, just to do this once and for all. I think that's all what we want to do.
Thank you very much. I think those are very great words of encouragement. And like I say, everyone has to participate. This cannot continue. I don't know what you think. What has been your experience?
Yeah, in my experience at a personal level, ndogara ndichienda kumba. I'm in the diaspora. But yeah, things kumba, they are very hard. And
Okay.
chinonyanyorwadza chacho ndechekuti some countries, irregardless of hardship in their countries handiti, but vanokwanisa kudevelopa kumusha kwavo, but isusu from the diaspora we can't even develop things. Paunotanga kuda kungodevelopa, kuda kungocommunicata with the authorities chete. I mean authorities, tiri kutaura kwasuperintendent, tiri kutaura vanhu vanoisa zvinhu small structures turiko ikokoko hapana chinobuda. Ukaisa bhoho unenge wabiridzirwa ende mangwana ivavo vaisa vacho vanogona nguva vachikubira zvatopera. So yeah, we have actually struggled isusu vanhu kudiaspora. If kana uchitoda kuti zvinhu zvako zviite, you have to pay extra mile. Zvimwe zviya zvekuti corruption is just seated, you know, like yato authorized. Munhu wese anotoziva kuti aite zvinhu anofanira kutouya ari corrupt, if you know what I mean.
Yes, so thanks very much, Machara. And I think I understand what you're saying. Everyone here understands what you're saying. And I think, let me let you go because I want to quickly wrap this up. I'm going to be back here in the morning. So thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Right. So, guys, it's simple. If we don't do this, and if we don't do this now, this will never happen. And I'm not trying to be a scaremonger here. We are at a critical moment, and we've built a lot of momentum since January. I've been live here every day since January. That is 6 months of being live. But this is not enough. We now need to go on the ground. We need to properly fund this. We need proper leadership. We can't leave 1 or 2 people to do this. So everyone must participate. And we need to do this correctly. And I'm going to add 2 more guys here. We're going to do this quickly. So I add 2 more guys, and then we move on. How are you, my brothers? How are you? I'm giving Mkoma Devi a chance to start. So Mkoma Tandazani, please put your mic off.
Yes, how are you, Mr. Gambakwe?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to make a contribution on your subject for today to say you have communicated with quite a number of opposition leaders, and it seems like there is fear. What I want to say is we need to tick all the boxes. We need to connect the dots to make sure that this program become a success. But what I'm afraid of is one thing. I can see that in terms of the contribution from the diaspora, I don't see any problem in terms of the contribution. But remember, where the whole story is in Zimbabwe, to make sure that these programs becomes success. We might have millions from the diaspora, but if you don't mobilize organized labor and those who are in the country, I think we are bound to fail. Because I can tick a box to say, to those in the diaspora, we can tick to say that box can be ticked for now to say they can make contribution. But the whole issue is in Zimbabwe, where you are saying the opposition leaders, people who have been in politics for quite a long time, if you say they are afraid, what about an ordinary person, a Jake and Jerry who is in the street? If he hears that those who have been in politics or those who are in politics are afraid, what about them? What is going to happen? Because this will end up now to say we might have millions, but we won't have anyone in Zimbabwe who will be who make sure that this program becomes a success. So we need to tick all the boxes and connect the dots so that these programs become a success. But if, according to my observation, I can see that when I started to follow this program on this channel, 90%, if I'm not mistaken, it's a contribution from those who are in diaspora. But I don't see those in Zimbabwe giving us numbers. And those are the key people who must be on the ground to make sure that this program becomes a success. Yes.
I want to tell you something, Mkomate. When I'm talking of fear here, I'm not talking about little fear. I'm talking about terror, So what happened today is tapiwa mara ndiri kuti chiendai munotsvaga lawyer represent. Sorry, I'm going to Shona. We got money to say go and find a lawyer who can represent the case of Pastor Masai to Commissioner Matanga. You saw I had to put an advert on Facebook. Not a single lawyer in Zimbabwe wanted to take that case. That's how afraid these guys are. And you are someone who is trained to be a lawyer, but they are afraid to take a simple form to Matanga. That is how bad this thing is. So how are you going to go on the street and lead people if you can't do such a simple thing? If I go and say hand that form and Gambako is arrested, are you guys going to be able to take this up and do it and come here every night and come here every morning and do what we're talking about? So we need a new order. We need a new system, but you have to enable me. So that's what I'm saying to you guys. You have to enable me to financially move around so that I don't have to sit here where I am. Then we can have someone who is on the ground and we can organize people where they are. So at the moment we lack order and organization because the actual people who are supposed to be doing those processes, they are afraid. And Mkoma Devi, I want to take a point that we need to do this in Zimbabwe and we need to do it open. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to say because I want us to quickly go through each other's 3 minutes.
Yeah, that is the question which needs to be answered, Mr. Gambakwe, because you are saying a lawyer, a professional, is afraid because that person is trained and it's not a crime to go and represent someone. Of course, the Masai issue, we know it's an issue which needs to be attended. But the key point is that we need people to go on the 17 or whatever the dates which you have mentioned here. Where are we going to have those, to find those people? Even though we've got money, our pocket is strong. But are we going to find? That's where we need to tick another dot to say, in terms of finance, the diaspora people will finance. But who are they? Who is going to volunteer to say, Mina, I'm in Zimbabwe, I want to go to the demonstration, I want to do this. If we are saying on this forum to say, those with names, those who are known to be opposition leaders, they are afraid. What about an ordinary person? Because the issue here is not about diaspora. The issue is an action which is supposed to be done in Zimbabwe. The question is who? Because according to my observation is that active participants are all in diaspora. I've never seen someone coming here saying anything that I'm in Zimbabwe, I'm ready to do this. Besides the pastor, I don't know, he might mobilize the church community, but only those church people cannot do anything. What we need is organized labor, other organizations which represent, let's say, kind of combi drivers, because the situation in Zimbabwe is affecting nearly everyone, which means you need to bring everyone on the table to make sure that every sector of the economy participate in this call to say we are going to do this. But as it stands now, it seems that this forum is for only those who are saying we need change in Zimbabwe, but they are not in Zimbabwe. So what I need is to make sure that how are we going to tick the box in Zimbabwe to say we are financing as people in diaspora. Who are those who is in Zimbabwe who is going to support this call? As you mentioned, to say there is fear, because we can donate millions, but no one will be able to take those millions to take the action which is really needed.
Okay, so Mkoma David, thank you very much. I'm going to answer that question for you. So for now, please just step down, and then I'm going to continue with the answer on that one, so that I can add more guys. There are more guys in the queue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Mkoma Tandazani, you heard the question: who in Zimbabwe is going to represent and organize the people? Because the truth, for the truth to be told, you cannot have a protest without people on the ground. So, what I want to say to the guys at the diaspora is, first, let's have our finances in order, because you can't organize without finances. So people like me should be somewhere on the ground. And we do have people on the ground right now. Unfortunately, those people can't move because the money we have is not enough. Right now, we need accommodation for guys to move from where they are. And at the moment, we can't get that money to rent new houses for people, because where they are, if they keep living in the place where they are sitting, it won't work. So what I would like to suggest is, let's have a proper fund. Let's not continue with what we have now. We've got very little money. And I want to challenge the opposition leaders, especially those who are in the diaspora. I know many of them are watching me here. You cannot expect Gambako to do everything, and not even a cent comes from a political party. So far, there's not a single political party that has given even 1 cent. All this small money that we're getting for printing, for data, is coming from individuals. So that's not enough. And the church does not have money. So you don't expect the church to provide funds. So I would like to see opposition leaders, some of them that I know are millionaires, coming to this thing here and giving us enough money so that we can move around. So right now, Gambako has to wake up and go and look for money to eat, and then come back in the evening as a part-time thing and organize. We need a proper fund to organize a protest against Mnangagwa, and that is the first step. We need a proper fund, because the journey that we're going into now is not an easy journey. That's why it has never happened. Mnangagwa has never been confronted. So he needs to be confronted with people who are well-resourced. And this includes the lawyers. The lawyers can't be afraid. I'm very disappointed with the lawyers in Zimbabwe who are full of fear. The opposition leaders who are full of fear. And I know that guys in the security sector are willing to, they're happy to see us organizing this thing against Mnangagwa. Everyone is struggling, including the guys in the security sector. So Mkoma Tandazani, let's give you 3 minutes, your 3 minutes for tonight. Can you get us some money? Where do we get money to do this thing properly?
Okay, thank you very much, Kambako, and a very good evening to the people of Zimbabwe. Firstly, I think there is a fundamental thing that we need to understand as the people of Zimbabwe, that when we're dealing with ZANU-PF, we're not dealing with a broke organization. We are dealing with a well-resourced organization that is capable of buying everybody that would have deployed on the ground. So we need to make sure that our resource muscle is very much stronger, more than what you may even anticipate. I don't even think that the diaspora is capable of funding it. Personally, that's my personal view. I don't think that the diaspora will fund it enough, considering that we've got the powerful figures from the ZANU-PF corridors of power. People like Philip Chiangwa, people like Passion Java, people like this one, the card distributor with the big board. What is his name? Wicknell Chivayo, and all these guys. These guys, they can actually single-handedly, the guys that I've mentioned, they can actually outsmart the entire diaspora community if we're not willing to actually do the proper fundraising. So what I'm driving at, Comrade Kambakwa, is we need a lot of money. And in as much as we need a lot of money, we need to be strategic about getting the money. And we need to make sure that we inspire confidence to the people of Zimbabwe. And that's where the issue of leadership comes in, Comrade Kambakwe. You cannot do the things alone, like you have saying. You cannot do the things a few people only. And you cannot do things with the people who are scared of running this thing and literally having ZANU-PF unseated. And remember, these guys are well comfortable in power. These guys are benefiting and eating in power. Therefore, they are not going to just be moved by some few individuals who wake up early in the morning and decide to organize a protest without inspiring confidence to the people of Zimbabwe. So firstly, you need to get the house in order. Secondly, you need to get the structures in order. You need to have powerful figures, people who are able to drive this thing, people who are able to inspire confidence to the people of Zimbabwe. I'm not saying get the seasoned politicians. I'm not saying get the well-known politicians. Get the right people. Get the right Zimbabweans who are determined to usher in a new democratic Zimbabwe, regardless of all odds, who are saying Zimbabwe must be free and who are saying Zimbabwe will be free. Those are the people that are needed in the leadership structure. The people who are able to fundraise, the people who are able to draft the proposals to convince even the ordinary Zimbabweans to be willing to fund. Because right now we are talking, Comrade Kambako, that we need money, but we haven't reached to a level where the people of Zimbabwe are convinced to actually fund us. Because the money that is needed is a lot. So there is need for some detailed explanation from people who can actually understand how this thing should be run and do the breakdown of the costs so that the people of Zimbabwe can understand and have that zeal to fund a revolution. And remember, Zimbabweans should not treat this as an event. This is not an event, Comrade Kambakwe. It's a revolution against authoritarianism. It's a revolution against dictatorship. It's a revolution against a very powerful ruling elite that is amassing and extracting resources on daily basis to their own pockets. So those guys, they can buy a lot of the guys that we can actually put on the ground. But as I conclude, so that I don't exceed my 3 minutes that much, as I conclude, I want to conclude with answering a very pertinent question that came from my brother who just spoke before me. The issue to say, have we inspired confidence to the ordinary Zimbabweans who are on the ground to say we are leading this thing and we want them on the street? And we do not want leaders, Comrade Kambak, who are going to be sitting on social media here and inspire confidence to the people of Zimbabwe without being on the ground. And that brings us back again to the issue of resources. Leaders cannot move from point A to point B without resources. You need fuel, you need cars, you need everything. Almost everybody is broke in Zimbabwe. So the people in Zimbabwe cannot fund the revolution, can only participate in a funded revolution. So we now need a convergence of I'm concluding. We now need a convergence of the people on the ground for them to participate and the people in the diaspora to fund the revolution against ZANU-PF. The people on the ground should know that it is their duty to usher in a new democratic Zimbabwe. And the people on the diaspora should know that it's our duty to also fund a revolution in Zimbabwe. Until and unless we are able to start funding the revolution, trust me, Zimbabwe is not going to be free. Trust me, the people of until and unless the ordinary Zimbabweans are determined and ready to go into the street, Zimbabwe will never be free. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, my brother Tandazani. And what I want to do is I want to let you go, but guys can watch what you've said here on paper, on TikTok. We're going to put your video up on TikTok. So after this, we'll put all the clips of all the guys who talk on our TikTok account. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Right, so I've got Mkoma Ngobani here. Mkoma Ngobani, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, Kabango, this evening?
Good. What do you want to say about this topic? We've got a difficult situation where the actual leaders on the ground are expressing fear. I'm not talking about things I've heard. I've talked to the leaders in the opposition. They're expressing fear of the level.
What are they afraid of?
I do not know. But all I can tell you is all the leaders that I've talked to are scared to go out in the open to even talk about the protest. I'm not talking about the actual day of the protest. They don't even want to talk about the protest right now. So guys in the diaspora, you have to understand that we are alone in this thing. We have to do this from out here. It won't be done from inside because they are afraid.
Okay, so, well, If people are afraid and they are voicing out that they are afraid, well, then it means that they are not part of a revolution. It's not, they are not the people that the revolution is looking for. Perhaps the ones that you were talking to are afraid. There is people that are not afraid who belong to the revolution. They will show up as time comes. As time goes on, as we keep on putting the pressure, the people who are not afraid will show up. I really like the people who say they are afraid because they excuse themselves. Remember the prophet in the Bible who had 10,000 men and ended up with 300 because 9,700 said they are afraid. So I applaud those that are afraid. They must just excuse us who are not afraid, and move ahead. And also, we did speak about the money issue that we are not well financially oiled, and ZANU-PF has got more money than us. Of course, it's true. ZANU-PF has multiple tons of money more than us. Doesn't matter how much we raise, they have more, and they're able to raise their own songs or chabangus who can come in and do what they do because they can get paid. So it becomes clear that the battle shouldn't be about money. It shouldn't matter how much money we have or how much less money we have. The strategies that we use, I know money is important. You need money for you to travel, for other expenses, but I don't want us to focus more or on the money issue as to say that without money we cannot do anything. But we need the money for traveling, the money for miscellaneous expenses, but not for big ticket expenses, because it is just going to give 1 million rand to his new version of Swengezo Chabang, who will come here and destroy and distort the message and bring everything down. So you see, just like David when he was fighting Goliath, his brothers were wearing armor, and Goliath had all the armor. They also gave David all the armor that is the same as other soldiers. But David took away that armor and killed Goliath with 5 stones. What is going to remove Itim is wisdom, ingenuity. That has got very little to do with the money or political position or other factors that ZANU-PF has got advantage over us. We have got an advantage that we are 15 million. The country is ours. We are oppressed and Mnangagwa is not oppressed. Internationally, we've got a more powerful and more righteous voice than the voice of Idi Mnangagwa and his friends in Harare. And by the way, another leverage is Kambako that we have. Talking of the Zimbabwean military, I'm sure these people, they are afraid of the military and the CIOs, whatever. These guys, they owe us a favor, come to think of it. In 2017, when they removed Robert Mugabe, they asked for our support, the support of the opposition and the support of the Zimbabwean people. The Zimbabwean people and the opposition, they must remember, supported the Zimbabwean military in removing Robert Mugabe. Now that we're dealing with Idi Mnangagwa, the Zimbabwean military and the CIOs, they owe us a favor. They owe us also to support us. So we shouldn't fear them. They should be in partnership with what we're doing. Because what it is doing, Kabako, it's not just against the Zimbabweans only. It's against the very same military men and the intelligence guys and even the ZANU-PF people. Because as you can see, even ZANU-PF is decaying. Mnangagwa is coming up with his own parallel structures. He is actually destroying ZANU-PF. So it would be foolish and stupid for anyone in state apparatus to be against us. They must actually support us. Even if they won't say it overtly, they must be appearing to ED that they are against us, but in their hearts, they must be with us. So those of you that are not afraid should know that we have got support even within the regime itself, even within the people that are in Mnangagwa circles who are sick and tired of where Mnangagwa is taking the country. Because if he is left as it is, by 2030, he will be the worst dictator in the continent, and nobody in ZANU-PF will be happy. Even now, people in ZANU-PF are not happy. I was looking at a video of Idi Mnangagwa forcing his new ministers to do some slogan. It's like North Korea kind of style. It's like he's like a god, a deputy Jesus or whatever. And you can see that no one is happy. You can see that this is forced. None of his ministers are happy. They've got positions, but they're not happy. No one in ZANU-PF is seriously happy. They'll be lying to you if they say they are happy, which means secretly they support us. So do not fear. The only person that we need here is one guy, Itim Nangako. Not my soldier, not my CIO, not even Vezami, it. You get what I'm
Thank you very
saying?
much, Mkomang Mobani. And I think let's bring this to an end. And I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Guys, feel free to WhatsApp me at any time. You just WhatsApp me and say, I want to talk, but don't call me directly because some guys are even calling me, video calling me like directly. So I get a bit overwhelmed. So thank you very much, Mkomang Mobani. And let me finalize this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. I'll be loading this up on TikTok after this.
Okay.
Right. So, guys, I want us to bring this to an end, and I want to start from the beginning. This is the best strategy that we have to demonstrate during the SADC summit. We've built a lot of momentum. We've got a lot of support internationally. I've talked to a lot of guys, opposition leaders. We've got a group of opposition leaders. We've got a group of organizers, and we've got a group with thousands of people. WhatsApp has got over 1,000 people, and now we're building our Telegram. However, the next thing that we need is to start traveling on the ground. And approximately what we need, so I'm answering Gail. Right now, the cost that we have, the budget is about $20,000 just for the trips. That is what we need. And to put it into context for you, we have received just about $200. This is not how you do a protest. We need everyone to contribute to this, and we need new ways of raising funds. I will need to be traveling with the guys to show you what's happening. So my purpose of traveling with the guys is so that I can show you that they've gone to SADC, they've met this person, they've gone to AU, they've met this person, they've gone to Zimbabwe, they've met this person. That can't happen if I'm not there. And also to bring cohesion. We've got so many different people in these groups. And you know that opposition people, they like to fight. So having someone who is neutral is helping. So we currently need to raise about 20,000 US dollars just for the trips. We've got a delegation with about 10 people that needs to travel. And the delegation needs to start moving mid-month. So that is around the 20th of June. Guys, if we don't do this on the ground, if we don't have feet moving to lobby different people, it won't work. Because remember, if Mnangagwa steps down, you want to have people who are going to contest, you want to campaign, you want to make sure that things work. Chamisa can't do it by himself because he doesn't have a party now. So all those people that are seeing, they won't be able to help him. And we'll be back where we started with Mnangagwa winning again. So is that what you want, to have a protest, ask Mnangagwa to step down and he wins again? So it won't work. And you guys will be stuck in the diaspora. Let's not do this the wrong way. Let's do this the correct way. But at the moment, I don't want anyone to be contributing to GoFundMe's or things that I've not seen. I don't know who are running those things. So for the moment, the only place we are sending money is the PayPal that I've set up until I've verified the guys who are running the GoFundMe's. I don't know who they are. I've never talked to anyone who's running a GoFundMe. So send the money here for now. We've got people who have promised to give us money to do the travel. So that 20,000 I'm talking about, there are people who say they can give it. But the next thing that you're going to see, if Gambagwe gets 50,000 from someone, then you see him not streaming at 9 o'clock because Gambagwe's got his 50,000 is gone. So we have to sponsor this ourselves. And to me, this is a spiritual calling. It's a spiritual duty. I'm not going to sell out because it's not something that I'm doing for myself. There is a bigger thing that is coming. And I want us to all work together. I feel so much pain for all the people that are outside the country because we want to be back in our country. So that's why we're doing this. We want everyone to go back to Zimbabwe. We want all the diaspora guys not to be forced to live in foreign countries and to go to Zimbabwe. We want a dialogue. We want reforms. we want Mnangagwa to step down and to have a fresh election, because he has put in place a parliament that is illegal. So the parliament that is led by Sengezo Chavangu is illegal. And we need to be able to communicate this to international bodies like SADC, AU, and EU. They do not know. So SADC didn't know that there was murder during the by-election. We've made that clear. We've made it clear to organizations outside the country that there was murder. We have now taken the letter to, as I'm saying, to Commissioner Matanga. If he doesn't give us that information, we're going to go to court outside of Zimbabwe. All these things need money, and we need to fund this thing. So this is where we are. We currently need to be funding what we're doing. And then we move to the next level. Bishop Nyamakanga, he needs funding to move around in Zimbabwe. He needs security. And this goes for even Pastor Maranga. Pastor Marange also needs to be moving around. We've got all these people who need to move around. And it can happen when we've got $200 or $300. We need a proper funding now. This is a real thing. We have given the fear of God into Mnangagwa's heart, but we need the muscle now. And the muscle is not there. The muscle is from the funding. So I'm going to add 2 more people here. Mkoma Wamba, how are you doing? How are you, Mkoma Wamba? I can't hear you. I think you're on mute. President, how's it going?
I'm fine, and you, Gabako. How is everything?
Is I Mari President? Irugubi.
Mari Iribu ya Gambakwe. As we promised you, we have to fund ourselves for the freedom that we are about to request, or that we are about to go and demand. Without the funding, there is no way that we are going. What we are requesting, or what we are demanding, it needs a well-funded organization of people coming together. Anzi kuwanda kwakanaka asi kwakaipara kupedzerana muto, asi kana takawanda ngatirakidze kuti takawanda. The problem, the challenge that we are facing as Zimbabweans is the lack of trust. We need to trust each other. We need to trust the process also. Tiri kufamba muvanhu tichitsvaga kuti toita sei kuti tinge tiine mari yekuti protest yedu ienderere mberi. And hence you talked about moving around, going to SADC before the protest, going to United Nations before the protest. It's in our plans also. But what I can request from the public is, let's work together. Let's be a united Zimbabwean people that are willing to have a free world. We are demanding a free Zimbabwe. We are demanding action kubva kuSADC. Pastor Masaya vanakwira mahara. We need to demand also our police to do an investigation so that kuziva kuti akauraya Pastor Masaya ndiani. And for a mayor political seat, for a mayor MP seat, hazviurayisi kucontesta. We have a right to contest paunoona kuti this is my community, ndinofanirwa kuimiririra. Hazvifaniri kurovesa kana kuurayisa. So we need to know who did it. And at the same time, this is the time also to demand kuziva kuti vakazoita sei naitaidza mari, nekuti akataura chokwadi. Nanhasi havasati vatiudza kuti itaidza mari ari kupi. So we still need to know kuti aripi. And akauraya Pastor Masaya ndiani.
Yes, President, ndozvandanditaura kuti today we received $3,000. The monies that are required are not small monies. So just for us to get this case to go to international lawyers, it needs more money than that. We've been charged $15,000 for that case. For this case, for all the paperwork to move up to international court. But I don't want to talk about that now. I'm talking about the problem that we have is even the money to go to SADC, a delegation of 10 people. We have not managed to raise that money. So I think that is where we need to spend a bit more time. And I'm sure here everyone is agreed.
What I can say is I will talk to the guys in diaspora. I think we need to have a meeting. We are going to invoke a meeting with the guys in diaspora, then map a way forward regarding the funds of the movement, of the protest, because we can't invoke a protest without funding. And we are not requesting funding from the people who are going to block the protest or the people that are going to demand anything from us. This is for the people and for the benefit of the Zimbabwean people. So we want the masses to actually fund the protest so that they can have the voice. We are not asking funds from organizations anozouya achititaurira zvokuita kana anozouya achitidirecta nzira yekufamba nayo. We don't want that. So we are going to have a meeting netimu riri kuno kudiaspora and map a way forward on how we can fund the protest. I heard you talking about the GoFundMe's. I will inquire on what's happening with the GoFundMe's also and find out exactly what is going on. Since this is a national thing, this is not a partisan thing, it is a national thing where it's for the people, by the people, and it is going to be funded by the people also. So I thank you, Gambako, for inviting me here. I don't have enough time. I wish to be with you for 24 hours talking about the protest because this is the only time we can demand the freedom, and this is the only time we can make our voices heard. And we are not going to rest until we attain a full freedom, be it economic freedom, be it social freedom, and be it political freedom. That's all we are fighting for.
All right, thank you very much, President of Zephyr, and I really appreciate you coming here. And I hope that as time goes on, remember I told you it will take some time, but we'll get it done. And I hope that one day I'll be able to come even where you are, so that we can sit down and have a chat and map the way
Thank you,
forward.
Gambako.
Because we need alignment. There's also a need for alignment. That is why we need, because I think what many people don't see is what comes after the protest. We don't want to fall back into the same issues. We need to make sure that when we finish the protest, we have a new system. And you always talk of system change.
Yes, thank you, Gambako. We do not have a regime change agenda. We have a system change agenda. It's pointless to change a driver webhazi bhazi racho rakafa. Chekutanga kuchinja the system, the engine yenyika yedu haisi kusenza. So the system is the engine. We need to change the system. Tozotsvaga hedu driver asi system yedu tachinja, which means we need political reforms. We need economical reforms. That is the main issues that we have in Zimbabwe. We need to fix our politics. Our politics is very toxic. The toxicity in our politics it's actually spilling over to vana vedu. It's spilling over to the coming generation, which we do not want. Kana tichiti tichavasiyira nhaka ipi yepolitics dzekurovana here, yepolitics dzekubatana nemakola here, yepolitics dzekuurayana here. Vana vedu vogoti Zimbabwe yacho vana baba vedu vakarwirei kana vana sekuru vedu vakarwirei, vakarwira kuti tisare tichirovana here. Kana iyo nhaka yacho yatinogovana tichirovana inogoveka here. We need a system change in Zimbabwe. That's all we need. Kuchinja driver hakuna basa. Tinogona kuchinja hedu driver kana bhazi rakafa harifambi. So we need to change the system. No, the most important thing. So we need to come together as Zimbabwean people. And chimwe chinhu chandiri kuona ndechekuti people are getting it twisted. This is not a protest yekuti tida kubvisa Mnangagwa. This is a protest yekuti SADC ite action. Vakauya nereport yavo. All these protests is based on the report. Number two, by-elections pakauraiwa munhu. There was no investigation. Kuma main election kwacho, there are 17 irregularities out of 20. And there is nothing that has been done. And at the same time, they want to crown Mnangagwa a chairman of the sham elections. It does not make sense. So if we have to dismantle SADC, we have to. If we have to disband SADC in the southern
I'm sorry for keeping you,
we have.
President. Yeah, I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
for keeping
Gambako.
you. Yeah, thank you very much. So we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Right. So I think we've had a nice chat, and I'm happy that no one ran away when you're talking about money. So that is a good sign. Kuti, very serious. I think Kuti, we have to have the difficult conversation. The difficult conversation is that where we're going, it's not easy, and some of us are going to get the the full force of what is coming, and we're prepared for it. Like myself, I believe Kuti running this media house gives me a platform where I cannot look away from this situation, and I'm not going to look away. But I also want you guys to play your part. Let us all play our part. Guys, you cannot die in the foreign countries. Do not die in the foreign countries. Do something for the next 3 months. Try as much as possible. Could by the end of August, Mnangagwa step down and we've got fresh elections. We need our country to work. That is what we're trying to do here. So I want to end it here today. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And all our groups are going to close. We've got some fundings happening in the UK group. So we're also going to start closing the UK group at 10 p.m. every night. And we'll start opening it again at 5 p.m. in the evening. Please let us contribute to the PayPal so that we can get people to travel. We're trying to raise $20,000. I'll let you know tomorrow if we have received enough money for us to get everyone to travel. So we need to get that answer very, very soon. And it will happen if the guys can't contribute, we'll go and look for the money from other people who will be able to provide us the money. But clearly, if you see me traveling, it means that someone has funded it. I've got no capacity to fund Zimbabwe to have a struggle. And I've got no capacity to fund all of you because that's what we want to do. And remember, that is what I'm talking about. We need to go back home. And it won't happen if the situation is the way it is. So thank you very much, everyone.